All right, guys, you get a two for today because I have a question for you guys. This is something that I've been trying to rack my brain around. And unfortunately, I'll never see an answer in my lifetime, but it's something I'm really, really curious about. I call my son's generation, my son and daughter, but the playdate generation. It's really weird how, and I don't know exactly when this happened. It's just I noticed that when I became a parent, suddenly we structure everything in our kids' lives. And it wasn't like this when I was growing up. I remember, and you guys may have different memories, so I'd like some feedback on this one, definitely. When I was a kid, it was basically like, the sun came up in the morning, and I'd grab my baseball glove and hop on my bike, and I'd ride miles. I mean, this is at 8, 9, 10 years old, to my friend's house, and I grew up in a really small town at this period of time in my life. And we'd get together and we'd play baseball. Remember Ghost Runners? You didn't have 18 kids obviously playing baseball, so you'd have Ghost Runner on bases so you could hit again. And now it's like, if my son wants to play with a friend, I have to call up the friend's parents, and we have to arrange a time where our kids can get together for a structured amount of time. Hey, can you take my son for 2 hours on Saturday from 2 to 4? Does that work for you? Great. It's bizarre how we structure everything for kids. Okay. The baby boomers, I want to contrast that with the baby boomers. And this is certainly not a video slamming baby boomers. It's just observational stuff. Baby boomers were always called, were always lauded for their self-sufficiency, and that's back when men were men, and you took care of things and everything else, and they're self-sufficient. But guess what? They relied on corporations and the government for their pensions. They never had to even give a thought to their retirement. Oh, you mean if I just go sign up with GE and I work there for 30 years, I hit the 25-year mark and my pension goes parabolic for the last 5 years, and then I work for the rest of my life I get a nice check? When I went down to Florida, I was hanging out with a couple of friends of my dad's, really nice people, and they are pretty much living a very, very nice life in retirement. Okay, they actually make more retired just from their pensions than my wife and I do working full time. He was a police officer in Virginia, and she worked for the town, whatever town they lived in Virginia, and their pensions now, before they can even collect Social Security, is $75K a year. So now they're living in Florida with no house payment, and really no kids to. They have kids, but they're all grown, and so they're just, living the dream. They're going on cruises probably 5 or 6 times a year. They have Harleys that they go drive up to Tennessee on, or Myrtle Beach. They have a beautiful boat. They have a brand new sports car. They have more money than they can spend. And honestly, I understand when I say something like that from a middle class perspective. I get if they were ultra rich, they'd find other ways to spend it. But the point is, these are people that never had to give a thought to how they were going to save for retirement. It was just all taken care of for them. There were promises made that that have been met through retirement. My father was kind of the same way. My father literally never put a dime away in savings, never. And I'm not even being, I'm not exaggerating here. He never said, "Oh, I have a $50 bill. Let me go save it." It never happened. He signed up with the company that he wanted to work for at 19 years old. He worked there for 36 years, and he gets a check for the rest of his life. And that's retirement. Never had to think about it, and now here he is. And they're doing okay. With me, it's a much different story. I have to put in the money in my 401k, and I have to somehow hope that it will be enough, even though every time I hit the old 401k calculator, it seems like it'll be well short of what I'm going to need to retire with. So anyway, let's go back to the playdate generation. What could possibly go wrong with a whole generation of kids that we structure everything in their life, but you know what won't be structured? Their retirement. We're literally saying, okay, we're going to help you. I mean, I've seen articles on CNBC and other places now where parents are actually going to job interviews with their kids. You know, this is a 23-year-old young man or woman who is very much an adult. Although it's weird how the definition of adult has changed. You know, when I was 18 years old, it was kind of like I was just about ready to get kicked out of the house and be on my own. And now we're still, you know, holding our children closely well into their 20s. And, you know, going to job interviews with their kid, I mean, that's bizarre. That is really strange to me that, you know, you'd be holding on that tightly at that time of their life. But these are the people, these are the kids that we're literally saying to them, you know, we're going to structure everything for you, but now it's retirement, you're on your own. Versus the baby boomers who were supposed to be the self-sufficient ones, and yet all that was taken care of for them. I'm curious, guys, and I know this is going to be an issue that pops up long after I'm gone, but it's a thought exercise. I'm curious, what do you think is going to happen like this? And I don't want to hear about, you know, society's going to collapse before then. Let's just run into the assumption that that things are going to go as they are now, and let's extrapolate out and see, you know, what this is going to look like. I just don't see this ending well at all. Although, in all fairness, I think my generation is going to have a lot of elderly poverty anyway. There are just very few people in their 40s that have any kind of retirement savings. And trying to live off Social Security is just, it's a joke, and that's not what Social Security was meant for. It wasn't meant to literally make you live like you were middle class when you're elderly. It was supposed to just complement other savings. But regardless, I don't know. This is a head scratcher for me. So let me know what you think, guys.